transported from China using heavy lift vessel, and then they are still not sure either to bring it up to about 4 kilometers south or north of the landed area to do the offloading, or they're going to bring it closer to land.
Okay. Okay. So for your thank you very much for inviting me. I have done many heavy lift float on float offs, several of them from Malaysia as well. And for your information, one of the most pertinent criteria, as I've explained to the lecturers here, are you need to your friend or your enemy is the current and the, what do I call it, the swell. So in order to take swell out of the equation, right, swell makes all the difference. If there is a certain height of swell, more than half a meter, 1 meter, the guy don't dare to float you off, because why? You are start to, you are in a very close. Have you seen the float off before? Have you seen a float on float off before?
Yes.
Okay, so okay, as you understand, right? When the rig, or the, what they call it, the mopu is floated on in China, it will already be touching a certain what they call it, the stanchion post, or the what they call rig stopper on that side. It's already have one corner with a rig stopper, one corner with a stanchion post to stop the rig on one side. It is already sitting in the center line. It is already having cross wires, cross ropes from both ends of the thing. Now, when she is about to float off, right, the moment she goes down, it's a point of no return, generally. Point of no return. Because why? Once they have assessed the current, they assess this and that, they assess, okay, where you're going to float off, this and that. The moment she floats down, she's already susceptible to movement. So you need to connect up your tugs accordingly in order to get her off. Okay, so I would propose to you, if you're carrying out this activity, right, benign waters. When you talk about benign waters, meaning calm enough, not much windage, not much swell. Wind, we can always say everywhere also got wind. What's the difference between outside and inside? Swell. So if within inside Labuan itself, right, the bay, it's a natural breakwater, natural bay itself, you know. So there, the swells that are inside on the South China Sea and all that, it doesn't come into Labuan itself. Generally, when inside Labuan, you're flat calm. The difference between doing these operations outside there and inside here is hundreds of thousands of dollars of demurrage. You know, because why? When we say you have a certain number of free days in your contract, free days, FREE, free days. So your contract may have 24 hours or 48 hours of free days, but out of which half of it is wasted, right? Because he will declare at 1 o'clock in the night or something, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, when you cannot do your operation, right? He declares his notice of readiness. The moment he declares notice of readiness, you already clocking all that, 18 hours of non-productive time. Next morning, 7 o'clock, you are there. Okay, what can we do? So you got to think about if it doesn't work, what will happen? So if it doesn't work, you have the consequence is demurrage. Your demurrage could be $45,000 US dollars, 55,000 US dollars a day. Escalated by, now everything, he say you can sit, cannot sit, you have to sit back down in order to get it to go to the next location. Sit back down safely or not is damage to your cargo. Further escalation of risk. So when we talk about those type of things, you can say that if you float off at the wrong place, the consequences are high. On top of that, you lanyard all the stuff that's underneath the boat or anything like that, also consequences are high. When you do a float off, right, the under-keel clearance between you and the vessel is only 1.5 meters. They don't go more. Just because they can go down, they don't go down more. Because the more they go down, the less stability they have. So what they do is they usually give you about 1.5 meters of clearance where you can safely float off to your deepest draft of your mopu. Therefore, can you imagine if 1.5, if you are bobbing up and down 1.5, you and him bobbing down 1.5, you're going to touch each other. So therefore, you ask, have you experienced this before? Yes. Industry-wise, kita pernah experience. Kat Africa, if you try to offload it in the wrong place, and then what happens? You cannot get it off. Habis. Have to float it back on a few more times, demurrage charge, go down to another location. All this becomes unplanned activity. Unplanned activity, as you know, becomes very expensive. Oh, last minute, all the phone calls, all the this and that, I need vessel, I need this, I need that. When you can plan it out, because of the great distance between China and here, right, whether it float off in outside there or it float off in inside here, makes zero difference to them in the grand scale of things. But what you gain if you float off in Labuan is you gain control and security. Why? In Labuan waters, you can guarantee yourself at least 2 harbor tugs. They have 3 to 4 harbor tugs in Labuan, but you can book 2. You can book 2, but you need to give them 1. They allow you to book up to 2. When you book 2, right, what you can do is if the draft of the anchor of the harbor tug is shallower than the HLV, than your mopu, right, you can actually go across the deck also. So that is one option as well, So when you have 2 bigger vessels, 2 smaller vessels, you can actually float together off, and then you're in control, hold the rig in position outside of the place, go to a safer place, connect up your actual tugs. So you on the right hand side, you connect up the not so actual tugs. On the left hand side, you connect up the actual tugs. So as you can see, you got to ask, okay, what is the escalation of everything? How do you want to tow this thing to, if you say, I'm only going to tow it 4 kilometers versus I'm going to tow it 2 days, 3 days, it makes a lot of difference. So your challenges are cost versus methodology of towing. So if let's say you were to float off in Labuan, it takes you approximately 3 days to get to Bintulu, approximately. At the size of the mopu, at the size of this and that, at what type of thing you are pulling, this and that. So you got to do your tow preparation. So obviously when it comes down from China, you have 0 personnel. So, but the benefit of you going on a heavy lift, you can do preparation. One of the preparation things that you can probably do on China side is prepare pilot ladder on the starboard side before you even float up. So that when you float down, you have a pilot ladder ready for your people to climb up. Because otherwise you got to think of things like, how do I get on this rig if I don't have this thing? Okay, 2 ways. One is,
Captain,
yes, sir. Go ahead.
they told us that they have their skeleton crew will be following from China.
Skeleton crew will be following from China from the
For
boat.
startup and all the equipment.
Yeah. So what in my experience, right, a mopu runs on generator. Unless he runs on e-gen, he won't run continuously over one. What will happen is after the float on, they will shut everything systematically down because one, there's no cooling water. There's no cooling water, there's no engine running only. You run itu emergency gen pun, okay, how long can you run emergency gen? Takkan 12 hari, there's no point one. So what they'll do is they'll shut down. When they come here, what they'll do is when they are ready to float off, if you have crew, cantik. If you already have crew on board, cantik. Because why? Right now, in order for them to get up, it's just scaffolding tower. They will have a scaffolding tower. They boleh panjat kaki boleh naik atas. So you have crew, that's good. Because why? You will need to have people to pull ropes to make fast your harbor tugs and all that. So the thing about when we do this type of operation, right? You need to think about fast deployment of ropes versus what you can deploy. So you can't say, if let's say you have anchor wire, I'm gonna use my crane. You cannot change the stability of the vessel. You cannot pick up your crane. You cannot put up anything until you're off the thing. So the only way that they can pass each other things is heaving line and soft mooring rope. So you use heaving line, soft mooring rope, get yourself off until you're 50 meter, 100 meter off the HLV. Once you connect up your four, as you have shown your diagram, right? You got 4 vessels, you could come off and get off the Mopu. Once Mopu get off the HLV, once you're about 50, 100 meters aside, you go clear off the thing. Then you transfer to your permanent, what do you call it? You transfer to your permanent towing arrangement. So I've been asking Encik, what is whether you have any anchor wires, you have any towing wires. What is the towing arrangement of this Mopu?
There's not much information that was given to us. So we just what you explained is very good for us to get a sort of a picture or as to how to advise them, because their intention is to I think there is I don't think there's a lot of strong points on the Mopu for the vessel to tow. Probably it's just they have a bridle for normal towing for it to tow, and the rest of it is just in bollards.
Correct. So the bollards are what you're going to use usually for pulling the vessel on and off HLVs.
Yeah.
When we're pulling on and off HLVs, right, you want quick deployment and quick discard. Because why? You must think of it needs to be able to get it off and get it. So how shall I show you this? Can I share screen? This allows me to share screen, right? Okay, just give me a minute. I'm gonna try something and see whether I can share this with you.
To ask you to be their consultant.
They never asked me to be consultant. They asked me to come help a study. Then yesterday when I went to the internet, I saw, this one looks like an awarded job. Macam ada conflict of interest. I cannot give you too much.
You become consultant through us.
So no, but what I can do is I can introduce you to people who have done this, a lot of this. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a video of us floating off a float off activity. I'm going to see whether you can. Let's share this. Excuse me. Share window. Share computer audio. Okay, let me know when you can see this. Okay, so that's a, did you all get to see that, or was I like staring at myself?
Beautiful.
Okay, so this is the float off operation of a, I've done a few of our float offs in different parts of the world, including Bintan, Africa, and all that. So the thing is that you need to know a few things first. Your float on draft and your float off draft is the same, identically the same. So they would have a float on plan that you need to get on. You need to get, because why? Over there will be all the how many vessels it needs to come on, how many vessels it needs to go off. Essentially, right, you actually only need 2 vessels is good enough for you to get off the HLV. Because why? You can, on the outboard side, the one that you're floating off, the outboard side you can connect to, say, closer to the edge of the, what do you call, longitudinal edge of either of this rig. You will start off with 90 degrees first. Start off with 90 degrees, as they will ask you to don't do anything. Just keep the line taut. Because why? What they'll do is they have cross lines on the HLV. So the cross line on the HLV is the line that is pulling will firstly come off, and then you need to have people to cast off these lines, then run over to the other side, get ready to cast off the other side lines. Because why? Once you're off, these 2 vessels start with 90 degrees, 45 degrees, then after that, 180. Then he gets, the priority is to get away from the HLV. What you don't want is to crash back into the HLV after you have floated off. So that is your first risk. When you're going off, you need to have sufficient manpower on forward and aft stations to cast off the rig lines. I mean, the HLV lines. The HLV is still connected to your unit via cross lines. That needs to be cast off. That is your first risk. So you must have enough people. What I usually do is either you have enough people forward station, one team forward, one team aft. He can go port and starboard. That is good. Or port, starboard, right, left, port, starboard, forward, and aft must have 4 teams. So 1, 2, 3, 4, so that these teams can concentrate on what they're doing instead of running across to do crazy stuff, So that is your secondary. Enough people to get off. 2, you need to cast off in time. Because why? You must remember that these HLV, right, dia punya rope pun 200 meter saja, 100-200 meter. Dia punya pun mooring winch saja actually. So he don't have a lot of pulling power, and he cannot continue to give you as long as you don't cast off. So you need to cast off in time. That's 1. 2, you will have your side, the Mopu must have a rig mover of sorts. Rig mover means the person who is in control of all the boats. You must have somebody in control. You cannot have, say, this captain take charge, this captain take charge. No, they will be in charge of their own vessel only. You need someone to control all 4 vessels and be in communications with the HLV. The HLV, right, he is, as long as you're within 50 meters of his vessel, you are under his control. The loading master and offloading master in full control. 1 minute, I got the answers. 50 meters. Yes, so 50 meters. So until you're off 50 meters, and he says, all yours. He cast off all his lines. Give me back my lines, all yours. Then you go. So the moment you go, right, you have to take charge. Your rig mover will take charge. Okay, what do you call? He will name his 4 vessels like A, B, C, D. A, 20% power, 30% power. B, kasih 50%, you continue 90 degrees. Kita tarik lagi, okay? You continue forward, this guy continue side. Then after that, make fast the other 2 vessels to hold yourself into position. So what my proposal is, if you have 4 vessels, you can do 4 vessels. You have 2 vessels, you can do 2 vessels. But the important thing is to get out of the 500 meter zone of this HLV. Why 500 meter zone? This guy can still swing one, no? Dia boleh pusing punya. So you need to get out of here, get out of the location, do your port clearance if you have to, and then get yourself out of location. So the thing is that that is your second risk. Port clearance, immigration clearance, custom clearance of this equipment coming in. You need to have a local agent to get these things done. So you need to have a port clearance. Your people coming in need to be port clearance in, immigration clearance in as well. Then your third risk, COVID-19 immigration, port clearance, Labuan. Okay, if you have people riding the crew, riding the team, you got to talk about immigration in, immigration out, kena quarantine ke tidak, ataupun just in, then follow the tow out. Okay, where are you going next? You're going next to Sarawak. As of now, anybody or any vessel last 21 days in Labuan is not allowed to enter Sarawak. Risk. There is a risk. You need to go to MKN, you need to go through all these permits and all this type of thing, get the special disaster, what do you call it, the disaster approval unit in Sarawak to approve your entry. Customs clearance, port clearance, you need to have an agent, everything needs to continue. You need to have a personnel thing there so that your persons who are riding the tow can be immigration in, immigration out, or at least port clearance in, port clearance out. That is another risk, okay? On top of that, let's say you are now out, you are now going in, what is your method of towing? So firstly, as I explained, you might want to use your two towing vessel, your actual two towing vessel first, just to get you off the HLV. You can charter one or two harbor tugs to help you hold in position. Why? Because there will be a time, now you want to do fast getting off method. You have no time to use the crane, you have no time to put the wires, you have no time this and that. So you need to have a fast method, which is use your anchor handler, connect the tail to maybe a 200-meter rope, 100-meter rope, 200-meter do a loop, kasih eye saja. So the people on board just loop eyes saja. Just your priority is to get off the rig first, get off the HLV first. Once you're at 500 meters, 1,000 meters away, you are ready to continue to, now let's set up ocean towing. First is harbor towing. Harbor towing, you can use ropes. Now, you gotta ask yourself, ini kalau, there's another risk coming up, warranty survey and insurance. Warranty survey and insurance. Now, if you need a warranty survey to come, he needs to be in Labuan, observe the float off, and approve the towing method. So he will need to do suitability of tow survey on the harbor tugs or the vessels that need to be done. These vessels need to be approved by him in time for the float off. That is another risk. Okay. Now, once you are done, you floated off, your towing methodology needs to be approved by warranty survey because you're going for more than a 48-hour tow. This is all known evil now. Known evil means all these things you can control in hand. Yes, they sound challenging, but they are all in your control. What you have removed from this is weather, you have removed from this swell, you have removed from this uncertain conditions outside there, which is open to the open ocean. All right. Now you're inside Labuan Bay, you can control everything through Labuan Port Services, Labuan Port Authority, Labuan agents, harbor tugs. You have the luxury of getting, a lot of vessels in the anchorage. You can still charter hire, spot charter. You can still do that. You can do Labuan port inspection for the warranty survey, day trips. You got a lot of options if you're inside Labuan waters. If you're outside there, you got to still do everything from Labuan, then get the vessels to go out there and risk having to come back here to do the float off. So there is a double trip. You get what I'm saying? If sana tak boleh, kena juga sini. Then when you sini is towing back another 1-2 days, demurrage. Every vessel also got demurrage. Every vessel also got extra days. Rather than take all that unknown, put it in Labuan, get the rig off, fix the towing method, get out, straight away go to your final location. That is why I propose Labuan as your calm, controlled scenario location for your float off. So that being said, you got to talk about now your warranty survey, insurance, and your towing methodology. So your towing methodology, you either you engage companies which have towing experience, or you can design yourself and then get the warranty surveyor to approve. So in my experience, warranty surveyor untuk long tow tak kasih mooring rope towing punya. They will not approve tow wire. Unless you do more than one vessel. More than one vessel. It's a short tow lah. I have pernah tow using harbor tugs, 3 harbor tugs from Singapore out to Bintan. But then that is a short distance. They come across the Singapore Straits, go down to Bintan, and then anchor up that side or moor up that side. So my methodology explaining to the warranty survey is, kalau saya sampai sana pun juga saya kena ada habitat yang sama. So I might as well just use this habitat. I buat PKKA untuk Indonesia and masuk sekaligus. Then use one of their vessels to just do the pushing in, So in that sense, I'm in full control. There is less risk. And then I engage the same warranty surveyor. So I say, this is how I explain, this is how we're going, this is how we're doing, and I will be over here. So, okay, you are in charge, you know the operations, this and that. So you got to get your warranty surveyor that you are used to and good to work with. I give you a heads up, DNVGL is very difficult to work with. Okay, Captain Umar's team is very difficult to work with. He will go through like a fine-tooth comb thinking that he's got, what do you call, value-added service to you. But to you, it's just stumbling block, stumbling block, stumbling block, stumbling block. So I suggest to you, another risk is DNVGL. Don't use DNVGL. Okay, they are good. They have a lot of people, but there's a lot of risk. Because why? He can stop you halfway and say, I want this calculation, I want that calculation, and every document that, this is another one of the risks. And hidden charges in warranty survey. It is better if you engage things like Matthew Daniels, Aqualis Brema, all those bigger names that they are not so particular on, I am a super marine kind of person. Where is your bollard pool calculation? Oh, it's inside my drawing. No, that's not good enough. I want to see a bollard pool calculation. Is this bollard rated for that? They go into those type of minute details saying, I said, why are you going into this? Kita nak solve problem, bukan nak create problem. Kenapa you cari lubang, Oh, this document is not acceptable for submission. I said, hey, this is a meeting invitation for you. Meeting invitation for you to join me for meeting. Why are you reviewing a meeting invitation punya thing? So chances are, DNVGL is susah because they like to nitpick at documents because every document that they review is beratus-ratus. So that is one of your other risks as well, marine warranty surveyor. Once you get off, my proposal to you, if you want to factor in engineering safety, is you use Dyneema rope, but Dyneema rope is very expensive. So if you use Dyneema rope to tow, the likelihood of you losing your wire is losing your line is very low. Unless you can find getting off the HLV is your first step. You can use normal mooring rope, 3-inch, 3.5-inch mooring rope, 10-inch circumference mooring rope. You can use that. You can pull yourself off. But once you are off, you need to do your ocean towing method. Ocean towing, you need to find out from your MOPU people, ada towing bridle ke tidak? Boleh start up engine ke tidak? Cukup engine untuk start up ke tidak? How long does it take to start up the engine? Can you get out on the same day as you float off? So there will be calm water, tide change, maybe 10 o'clock, 12, 11 o'clock. But remember, in Labuan, wind comes up after noon. So you need to be in between this time, everything needs to be ready to go. So I would still suggest, still charter at least one harbor tug, because harbor tug is quick maneuver. Dia boleh pergi sini, dia boleh pergi sana, dia boleh cucuk, dia boleh tarik, dia boleh, dia boleh cium-cium and help you hold position. Whereas anchor handlers and big vessels are very slow and it's just good for long towing, but not for quick towing. But retain your two because you're anyway going to use them to go and tow your vessel. So I would suggest hire 2 harbor tug to hold position this vessel. So he use soft rope, he can hold position while the big vessels go and set up their towing bridles. Once you set up your towing bridles, get rid of the small vessels and go. Have your other positioning vessels wait for you at the other side. So this type of thing is all timing and risk. So what are the risks involved in this? Redundancy and backup. I have learned the hard way that if you try to cost save, I just need one vessel. When that one vessel, something go wrong, you have no backup. So if you are going to anyway use 4 vessels at the end of the day, tak salah kalau you suruh your other 2 non-performing vessels stand by nearby in case other emergency can take over. So even if you need 4 vessels to tow out, you have 4 vessels to tow out. If not escort, if not chaser, just have them with you. That way, you can tell your warranty surveyor, scrutinize less. Ada backup kat sini. You get what I'm saying? So that is your other risk mitigation. So your other risks are, if let's say you only have 2 vessels, 1 breakdown, you can no longer tow with the correct direction, because why? You want to tow in 4. So as you have correctly assessed, you need your harbor tugs to hold you in position, to set up correctly. Once you set up correctly, you start up. So when you start out, right, if you are, here's a risk. Why, when we tow more than 24 hours, we choose the single bridle configuration? The single tow bridle configuration is because one person is in control. When one person is control, you know as a captain, aku cakap port means port. You ikut saja dari belakang sebab kamu ini vessel under tow. You have no control. I am in control. But when you have 2 captains side by side, you need to have somebody in charge of them. And when you have somebody in charge of them, he can control them for short distances on approach. But he cannot control them for long towage where there is no radar. You cannot make decision on collision avoidance. So when you have 2 vessels towing long distance, it becomes a conflict of interest. You have to make one person, captain left, captain B, you captain A, kapal A, you are vessel master in control. Bila kamu order, you order dia sama-sama. What they will do is, at the end of the day, they will just come next to each other and they will tow like that. But in that sense, aren't you not better just towing single bridle, long distance, sampai sana, pass the other 4 vessels out, then make your configuration outside of the 2 kilometer zone, 2-3 kilometer, outside of 1 nautical mile, 1 nautical mile plus, you set up your final configuration for moving in. You faham? You get me? I know you get me lah. The rest of them probably don't get me, but I know you got me. So what I would suggest is, once you come off the vessel using your 2 correct vessel, 2 standby vessel, 2 harbor tug to position. The 2 harbor tugs is important. Why? Because at one certain point of time, you will need to let go everything, and everything is under the control of 2 harbor tugs. Set up your towing bridle. The other 2 or 3, ikut saja. Go out there. Once you are there, send the first vessel as the 2 corners away from you. Then send the 3rd corner. Then after that, send again. So once you set up your 4, then your rig mover can take charge. He will pull you into position of the thing. So that is so you have the float off operations is your first task. Ocean tow is your second task. Your task is to do the final approach and set up. So the final approach and setup, you need a proper rig mover lah. Kalau captain, you are experienced, you dare do it, go ahead, it's no problem. All you need to do is just, I give you a heads up, you ambil satu kertas, you bahagi kepada 4, okay, you draw 4 lines, you tulis vessel A, vessel B, vessel C, vessel D, and you write down power heading, power heading, power heading, power heading saja. You just write down because there's no way you can remember. So you just remember that vessel A, vessel B, vessel, you just control them, power heading, power heading, power heading, power heading, power heading, power heading. And as some very old senior rig mover has taught me before, as long as you are moving, you are in control. Once you have stopped moving, you have lost all control. Because why? If you are in stop moving means your equilibrium. Equilibrium means what? Current takeover. So you still need to control all 4 vessels in such a way that you are in full awareness of where everyone is, which is why I asked the next question, your positioning. This mopu ada anchor ke tidak? Selalunya mopu ada anchor juga, because anchor is used for positioning into the platform and then jacking down your legs. If you don't have, then you have to be very, very good at, okay, 20%, okay, stop, okay, 20%, 30%, okay, you continue 15%, hold back 15%, and you cannot be distracted. If you want, I share with you what I use, okay? I use personally iSailor, okay? I use the iSailor with a Bad Elf GPS dongle. Bad Elf GPS dongle, I connect to the iSailor. If you are not very savvy, You use iPad, iSailor, it works perfectly. If you use tab like me, you have to go into developer setting and do a mock GPS setup where it can read directly from the satellite to this unit, and it becomes very accurate. If you are using onboard chip, dia punya accuracy 20-30 meters. If you're using BetL GPS, 3 meters, 1.5 meters accuracy. But when you are approaching platform within the 50-meter zone, 100-meter zone of a platform, approaching 1,000 meters inwards towards a platform, I would suggest you use, what do you call it? The positioning survey. So you need to have a positioning survey company. If you're working for Petronas, they will show you HGIS and all that. So HGIS and all that will set up control center inside there where your rig mover can take a look. When you're approaching outside 1,000 meters to the 50-meter mark, everything is positioning survey control. Inside of 50 meters, you need to be very, very careful of how you approach the platform. So you need to, if you are precision type, you don't have any other thing, I suggest to you, I give you a company. This company is called Pro Marine. They're very good at specific spot-on maneuvering. Captain Tan Se Lam of Singapore, if you've heard of him, they run a company called Pro Marine. They are very good at this jack-up and this mopu style, close quarter moves. They have been moving for a long, long time. They operate out of Singapore. I can introduce you to them. So if you are going to go into meters of a platform, I suggest you use Captain Tan's team. They are very experienced in moving jack-ups and all that. They will jack down and tell you to move and then creep in and all this sort of thing. Two, there's also Ryan Chia's team. But Ryan Chia's team does the conventional jack-up with anchors. For spot moving, that means very precision, very, very close moving one, I would go with Pro Marine Singapore. But all this is money. All this is operational risk that you hand over to someone because of his experience. Captain Tan was one of the pioneer pilots in Singapore who has been moving rigs for us since, within Singapore waters. I've seen him do tight corners and all this type of thing. He's God in Singapore, let's just put it that way. When it comes to that, pilots, see, Captain Tan, good day, sir. You take over, sir, no problem. That sort of thing. So his team is very good at this precision rig moving. If you're talking about jackups, Ryan's team is very good. Ryan used to be the marine guy for Naga. He came out, set up his own company called Ace Rig Movers. Ace Rig Movers does a lot of jackup moves. So that is the local company that also can do this. So therein, I give you your pilotage operation. Because why? The Captain Pauls and the Captain of Petronas, they will not take over from you. They will stand back and see your rig mover and they will abort your operation if you are unsafe. So operationally, if you're doing this, you got to also hire the right people to sit in and do the job. So those are the many, many risks of this activity that I can see in your activity.
Yes, Captain, do you have this limitation of offloading, and also when you're pinning down? This mopu will be closest to the flare platform, about 15 meters.
How much?
15.
Yeah. Okay.
They give a coordinate for the spot, the spot points.
Yep.
Yeah, tolerance is about 1.5 meters only.
Yes.
So this limitation, probably for limitation, these are the company will apply a rig mover and all these things.
No. Okay. When you say company, which company?
And this mopu guys.
Okay. So as long as they have somebody in charge of it, I'm sharing with you these risks so that since you are in charge of risk assessment, these are the risks that you need to address. That the person has sufficient experience, he has done enough of this type of jobs. Have he done 10 moves, similar type, of these moves without anchor wire? So the keyword is mopu without anchor wire. Because if you say mopu without anchor wire, I can only think of a handful of people who can do it. If the handful of people is not in their list, it's jangan kata orang putih, saya nampak orang putih pun how punya. I was once in Africa, okay? I was once in Africa, and then I have this company called Interocean. Oh, tendang CV, wah 50 tahun, 40 tahun. I said, what is me? I am only berapa tahun saja. So then I said, okay, so can I come back to you? I said, who is going to be in charge of the vessel, controlling the vessels at 50 meters and within 50 meters of the platform? While connecting prelay anchors, they're saying they want to connect prelay anchors at 50 meters from the platform. So I said, who is in charge? I say, selalunya is 200-300 meters away. You do this, then you go in by anchor wire pulling. No. We engineered it this way, and it has to be 50 meters. So I said, okay, you are just now the guy say 50 tahun experience, 40 tahun experience. What are these two doing? You can get them to become the rig movers lah, since they are the so-called mooring masters of this operation. Oh, then after that they admit, we have no experience in this. We don't dare take up the thing. Aku pun pergi lah. So, like I said, this experience is you can lose 20 meters by just talking to someone. So hence, I would say, go for the most experienced person, go for the most equipment that they ask for. You need to give them the tools that they need to do the job, and you need to hire the right people to do the job. That is one of your major risks. I give you two suggestions. Ace rig movers is a jack-up mover in Malaysia, but they move jack down, then after that crawl in with wires. They also can pull in with vessels, but it's then the other one is they only do by vessels. That one is they are super Straits pilots, MPA Straits pilot license. They have tons of experience as Singapore harbor pilots and all that sort of thing, and they've done a lot of rig moves, thunder amount of rig moves. Okay, pro marine. Nanti kalau nak, saya boleh hantarkan ini what do you call the contact to your team. So that is, I would say, mitigate the risk by hiring the right people. Unless your guy from what, because the risk of this is hantam platform. If you have a guy who has never done this before, have never done this type of mopu before, don't talk about just jack up. Every jack up also different, but jack up without wires, control only with vessel going into 4 meters from the platform. He must show that he has done 5 to 10 of these before. Then you have confidence that he can do the job. I mean, I would scrutinize him that way if I was going to ask him to do the job. Right?
If they have habitat doing the job, very easy.
Correct. Ini bukan habitat, ini nak guna anchor handle lagi. Siapa nak guna habitat 4 days out, no? So therein, you might want to raise these questions out, as part of your thing. What is their methodology? What is their methodology to approach the platform? Are they using 4 anchor handlers? The maneuverability of anchor handlers is dismal. Tak boleh turn punya. So unless you're using them, you cannot even say DP mode. There is no such thing as DP mode on tow. Betul tak? You mana boleh DP mode on tow? That is totally out of the question. DP is to control your own vessel only. There is no such thing as DP mode on tow. So that is another question altogether. So your vessels, if you want to say, I want the right vessels to do the job, then you go and get SE thruster 4 harbor tug out there. Chun, SE thruster harbor tug, 5,000 bhp and above, whatever. No problem. Maneuverability is super. He can go sideways and still pull you sideways. Get the right equipment to do the job. If you are willing to invest in that, there is no issues in your risk.
Yeah.
I will share with him afterwards Captain Tan Selam Pro Marine punya contact and Ryan punya contact.
I saw a few jobs that they do in Tuas dry dock. They put in HLV because I do pilotage also.
Then you know who Captain Tan is lah. Tan Selam dia.
He's quite, I know Charles and all these things, but I haven't heard of.
Let's just put it this way. When he was in NOL, Melinda was still a little girl.
That's Captain
When he
Tan.
was in NOL, Melinda was still a little girl. Okay,
Captain Tan, he's NOL before.
he's NOL also.
What's his full name?
Tan Say Lam. Tansayalam. He looks like Lee Kuan Yew. He looks
Looks
like
like
Lee
Lee
Kuan
Kuan
Yew.
Yew. You know which batch? I'm Singapore Poly batch.
No, I don't. His CID number, I think single digit one.
A small number one, little bit.
Single digit.
Single digit,
Yeah.
Mine is my certificate is 007, I think.
No, I mean CID is company identification number for company for NOL. Bukan COC number.
Oh
CID
shit.
number. Ah,
My COC number is 7.
okay.
Okay lah, because I also a harbor pilot, I also STS pilot. I do a lot of STS job off to us lah.
Okay.
What you're explaining, I really understand because I move rigs also, but not in outside, but in the port area.
Mm-hmm.
I know how difficult it is using a supply vessel. Using a
Yes.
anchor handler, I see, man. It's like having a fat lady lah.
Yeah.
Four
Yeah.
fat lady around you and you're trying to
Yeah. It's like trying to cut. It's trying to cut the meat with a hammer.
Yes.
Betul tak? Trying to cut the meat with a hammer.
So,
Yes. You can work, but it's just a lot more work, you know.
So I think for the purpose of this study that we're going to
Yeah.
do, we want to look into all this aspect that you give us, because I don't want fair enough if I'm the if they give me the whole lot, then I put all the risk that you mentioned, which is the whole bit lah. So because we have a guideline from the Marine Department of how to do this within
Wait,
the Marine Department.
Wait, okay. So your charter, your job scope, right, is asked to study by Jabatan Laut.
Yes.
Ah.
No, it's by the company because now in Malaysia after the Naga the Naga 7 incident.
Yes.
So they're going to have all this. They have this any movement of rigs or putting new rigs within the area. They have to do a marine risk assessment.
Yes.
So, but Marine Department marine risk assessment is just surface.
Yes.
It is more on if there's a vessel, there's a fishing boat, the limitation of weather, wind, and current. But we will put what you said with regards to the wind and the swell, because to me, I see that is one of the contributing factor of either you do a good job or you're going to screw up the job.
Yes.
Because they want to offload it off about 4 kilometers off the oil field, which is open waters.
I'm how should I say hesitant on that because why? One, you cannot guarantee calm waters. I do heavy lifting out there. I sometimes have to wait 3 days, 4 days for calm weather.
Yeah. They have 4 days. They only have 4 days.
Exactly. But you know what I mean, right? Sometimes if the wind, and these past few days, even in Labuan itself, pukul 3 pagi, 4 pagi pun, you tengok ada hujan-hujan dan sebagainya. You have squalls in the evening. Outside there is susceptible to weather.
Yeah.
And it is not wind that we're worried about. It's swell. Swell we cannot control. Swell, other storm systems, 1,000 nautical miles away, is still coming. The swell is still very big. What are you going to do?
Typhoon of Philippines,
We already swell on this side. Correct. You understand as well as I that this thing is sensitive to swell because why? We're talking about 1.5 meters of clearance between us and the cribbing of the HLV. Yes. I would say Labuan is your best bet because it's sheltered waters. After you've done it in Labuan and you come out, then all you need to do is just worry about towing risk after that. Because regardless outside there, the implication of that is heavier. Inside here is control. You can call harbor tugs, you can call this and that. You want to do, then they should do it over here. You know what I mean? There's a safer way to do it. Kat luar sana, you want to do it with, like I say, you can do it with a sledgehammer also. You can also cut meat. You want to pull until it come out, also can. Not to say cannot. You want to hook up two vessels and just lanyak saja, go, no go saja, pun boleh. Then you are out of control lah. Like, are you supposed to pick up your crane? Are you supposed to do this and that? Are you supposed to take onward control? Then you might lose control and whack into the HLV. HLV might sink on top of the platform or on top of the pipeline. And not only that, here's he wants to do it 4 kilometers from the platform. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What is the water depth?
30 meters.
30 meters. Okay. Depending on the operations, your limitation for the HLV is your HLV needs to anchor in sufficient water depth for his 7 shackles, 9 shackles thing. Once he has 7 shackle, 9 shackle thing, and then he has to have sufficient control on current and weather. So, like I say, experience-wise, I've seen people do it in Labuan. I have done it in Labuan. And Labuan is so close to Bintulu, I wouldn't do it in Kuching. You know what I mean? Or wherever, 4 kilometers off Bintulu also is considered too open the water for unknown.
No, Bintulu at the anchorage area also is open waters already. During the southwest monsoon, because I'm one of the LNG guys earlier,
Yes.
LNG group. So
Yes.
when we bring in even a 280-meter LNG vessel into Bintulu with the southwest monsoon, you still feel the swell.
Yes, exactly. As long as you got swell, you can forget about it. You're better off inside Labuan. That is the game changer, the showstopper.
The swell is the game changer. So what
Yes.
if we want to suggest to them, the swell will be a 0.
You need to have calm waters in order to do this.
Calm waters.
You have 0.5 meter to 1 meter, there will be a tolerance that the HLV itself will give you the tolerance. Dia cakap tak boleh means tak boleh. Then you don't want to wait until I arrive, then I say cannot, right? Yes. We assess, you cannot say risk assessment is when the captain come, he assess. Tak boleh. You're not engineering away the problem. You're sweeping it under the carpet, right? So in order to engineer away the problem, do it in calm waters, control environment where you have little traffic and 0 swell, which is in Labuan.
Labuan, the best is Labuan Bay.
Labuan Bay, no?
Yeah. Even that one, Labuan also sometimes you get this squall also.
Correct. Squall is everywhere. Squall is everywhere. That's the thing. Squall is everywhere. But the thing is that swell is the difference. Kalau you ada swell, you tak boleh buat any kerja.
That means the tolerance for swell is 0.1 for this.
I don't dare say 0 lah. 0.5 to 1 meters is dangerous.
1 meter, so I don't think 1 meter can make
0.5 is except 0 to 0.5
swell.
Yeah. But when we're talking about swell, the vessel would hanyut
because
really,
two different things. The mopu when it's floated, the movement is different, and then the HLV when
dual body
different. So you have two different movement of two equipment.
Bodies, correct.
Yeah, so I see that.
I would say Labuan is your best bet. I would say restrict it to Labuan float off, then tow out to location. Why? What will be the I don't see that this cost saving versus the risk of damage versus the risk of that vessel sinking onto a pipeline or losing control, oil pollution, is there, man. So the contact within it and destroying the cribbing, then he arrests the vessel. Oh no, you have to further on investigation, and then become Petronas involved. Then everybody become it's just escalating. Lebih baik kita buat ni kerja kat Labuan.
So let's see. I think one of our study, I can see this study will come up to a suggestion to this company that you're going to have to do a lot of at a calm area, which is nearest is Labuan now. I think it's I got this gut feeling that it's not going to happen offshore. It's going to
Yeah.
be very close inside common waters. But
Yes.
there are guys in the office, those people who say the owners, what you say, they're trying to save a lot of money because they're trying to save the towing costs and all these things. This will come out. But I think in our study, we'll give that suggestion to them.
Mhm.
We have to. That means we have to do study at the Labuan area also, so that they don't have to do
Yep.
double. Well, anyway, I learned a lot from you, man. Even though
No
you're
problem, no
younger
problem.
from me, than me, but
Rezeki, Tan.
you've got a lot of
Rezeki,
experience in
rezeki.
all
This
this
is
thing.
all rezeki, right? At the end of the day, yes. Hey, share with Captain, our community Perkapalan Malaysia site. We share a lot more stuff there for the benefit of the young sailors and the young
Yeah, yeah.
mariners who are
No,
venturing.
I'm here just to as a mentor to all these
Mm.
young people. I just want to share my experiences in there.
Can,
I
can,
mean,
can.
I've been a pilot for almost 30 years already.
Mm.
I'm damn old already. I do more than 16,000 ship moves. That's about 300 VLCCs already.
Correct. And therein, you have enough experience to know that when you are not experienced in something, you should ask someone who is more
Yeah,
experienced
that's
in it.
that's
You know?
what I call you.
Yes, you know what I mean. So even for this, I would encourage you all, if you want to introduce to the owners, this Pro Marine and all that, then I highly recommend Pro Marine as the correct company to do this job.
Yeah, and anyway, we will keep your number. So we'll talk to the proponent. So if they want more, just call you. You put your price lah.
Tak boleh. I'm working for Sapura right now.
Oh, you're working for Samura. Oh yeah.
Yes, I'm working for Sapura. Conflict of interest. That's why I already read this job.
Hey,
I already read this job. I'm like, this one bukan kamu.
get your friends. You get 10% commission lah.
Cannot. Conflict of interest, conflict of interest.
Yeah,
But at
okay,
the
okay.
end of the day, yeah, I mean, I already saw the thing. It's a Petronas job and this and that. So at the end of the day, I know the end, the marine guy for Petronas also my friend. So kind of like, if I help him out here, it will help him out eventually. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay lah.
can.
And never mind. We actually the mariners are very close. We are in a very close loop lah.
Can.
So only we don't know each other, but we say, oh, this guy. Well, I've heard this guy. The name just float around. Because
Can.
I see. I think it will be either you or Tan doing this offloading HLV and towards there.
Tan
A
as
lot of
in, the Tan that you're talking about is which Tan?
your Singapore Tan because
Tan Selam.
Singapore dry dock. They a lot of
Yeah.
oil rigs in Singapore.
Correct.
They back of the
Captain Tan.
Tuas and dockyard.
Yes.
So a lot of
Correct.
HLV. That's why I was this swell thing that Hafizi mentioned in the morning. It was my worry because when they do this loading HLV and offloading HLV at Tuas, is flat calm waters.
Correct.
And
And you do it before Sultan show. You do it before the Sultan light, you know. So after that is where the fast water and the
yeah. It's just in front of the
inside
dry
is
dock.
nothing. So everything is usually done in the VLCC anchorage last time.
Yeah.
VLCC A. So in Singapore, it is done that side because it's still super flat calm. You go past the Sultan light only, that's where
Finish.
the currents and all that.
Current is there.
Correct. So therefore, this operation needs calm waters. Even Labuan also ada current punya, ada masa yang cantik dan juga
I just wait for slack water and then
there is a challenge, but outside there is a myriad of challenges is unknown. Then you're taking a bet, no need to do risk assessment rate. Can means can, cannot means cannot, 50-50, Yeah,
understood.
that's not risk assessment rate.
Yeah, understood. Okay, very nice. Hey, thank you very much, man.
No problem.
Thank
No
you
problem.
very much.
No problem.
Thanks for it's actually something good. It's a learning curve for me also.
Everything's a
I
learning.
do it, I understand it, but after listening from you, a lot of thing I don't know.
I share a lot of things in the community perkapalan Malaysia site. I later I'll send it to him, and then he can pass it over to you, and I'll send over the what do you call it, this pro marine punya contact lah. Then in case you all need expert at it, they are the experts on it.
Community perkapalan, eh?
Community Perkapalan Malaysia is in Facebook.
Okay then, we will go through that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything from
Okay, thank you so much for your time, for your. Okay, maybe our purpose for this study. The purpose for our study is for marine department requirement. So that's why we're doing this study, because we're part of the consultant under the marine. Look after, to this project in terms of the safety of navigation, safety of the marine aspect. Anyway, thank you so much, Cap.
No problem, no problem.
We have some other talks.
Yeah, yeah. Can, no problem. So again, one of the very important things that you need to take note of that they might not tell you is that the stability of the unit cannot be changed until you're off the HLV.
yeah.
The COG of the vessel must retain 100% the same. Otherwise, the float on, float off will have accident.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. All right, you have a good day
Maybe
ahead.
one
Thank
day
you.
we will invite you here for a nice lecture to all the students after this.
Can. After this, they have already invited me for what do you call a talk that day on the night team.
Yeah. I was listening also.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I'm listening also, my friend. I will not
Okay. Can. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Okay.
very much. Cheers, mate.
Okay. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much, Cap. Thank you very much.